Hello, Morongo Basin and listeners around the world online at Z107.7fm.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. The suspected arsonist who led law enforcement officers on a pursuit that ended with the use of lethal force on the 10 freeway has been identified as Antonio Garza, a 44-year-old resident of Joshua Tree. A discrepancy between two of the agencies investigating the incident, which crossed several law enforcement jurisdictions, led to an earlier misidentification of the suspect as Antonio Guzman of Yucca Valley. The San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office has corrected the error in their press release. Garza is alleged by San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies to have started a box trailer fire near Indio Avenue and Canterbury Street in Yucca Valley on Sunday, before fleeing the scene in a car and leading deputies on a chase westbound on Highway 62 through Morongo Valley and Desert Hot Springs, and ending when he drove off the side of the westbound 10 freeway near the Whitewater Cutoff north of Palm Springs. The details of the deputy-involved shooting, which occurred in Riverside County, are being investigated by the Riverside County Sheriff's Office and have not been released. This is an ongoing story, and Z107.7 will provide updates as they become available. The California Fish and Game Commission will consider the western Joshua Tree and whether to add it to the California Endangered Species Act's list of threatened species when they meet today and tomorrow in Sacramento. Reporter Mike Lipsitz tells us what to expect and how to observe the meeting remotely.
The western Joshua Tree has enjoyed protected status since October of 2020, when the state's Fish and Game Commission included it as a candidate species for inclusion on the list. At its meeting last October, the Commission closed the public hearing and administrative record on the matter. It is not expected to take any further comment other than from tribal governments. And while deliberation picks back up at this week's meeting, the Commission's findings are expected to be adopted at a future meeting. If the status does ultimately change to a permanent listing, the western Joshua Tree will become the first plant species to be listed as threatened in California due to climate change. See this story at Z107.7fm.com for a link to the full agenda and instructions on how to observe the meeting in person or via the live stream online. Reporting for Z107.7 News, this is Mike Lipsitz.
A suspected DUI driver drove his Lexus into a ditch on Yucca Mesa Road early Sunday morning. Just after midnight, County Sheriff's deputies received a report that a silver Lexus driving east on Yucca Mesa toward Buena Vista drove into a ditch and got stuck. A Good Samaritan called 911 and attempted to check on any injuries and found the driver, identified as Mark Loza, a 22-year-old Yucca Valley resident, unresponsive behind the wheel, and a female passenger attempting to crawl out of the Lexus. When deputies arrived at the scene, they report that Loza was uncooperative and appeared to be under the influence of alcohol. Loza refused to submit to a chemical test and refused to sign his citation and was transferred to Central Detention Center for a forced blood draw. Mark Loza was arrested for suspicion of driving under the influence and booked at Central Detention Center. A common scam that targets grocery stores' self-checkouts has hit the Morongo Basin. Online news editor Robert Hayden joins us with the story.
A credit card skimmer was found at a Walmart self-checkout kiosk in Yucca Valley on Sunday, February 5th. Sheriffs report that the device was placed over the pin pad at one of the self-checkouts at approximately 7:30 p.m. and was discovered the following morning at 8 a.m. Video surveillance shows a suspect with a face mask placing the device on a credit card reader, and staff and law enforcement are reviewing footage to identify the suspect. Credit card skimmers are a series of small, conspicuously placed devices that can collect your credit card number and PIN while you use a self-serve credit card device. The skimmers are meant to work without you knowing it, so you can complete the transaction and leave the store. Then the device is collected, and the scammers can then use your card for fraudulent activities. Credit card skimmers are nothing new. However, the technology is getting more sophisticated, with some even wirelessly transmitting card numbers as they are stolen. Only one skimmer was found and collected. It's unknown if there were any victims in this particular case. If you're using a self-checkout or an ATM and something feels a bit strange about the machine, stop using it and contact an employee. And it's always good to contact your bank and make sure no fraudulent charges were recorded. We'll have a link at this story at Z107.7fm.com with more information on credit card skimming and fraud, and we'll continue to keep you aware of financial scams that are hitting the Morongo Basin. Reporting for Z107.7 News, this is Robert Hayden.
The Yucca Valley Airport District Board of Directors will hold their regular meeting this evening. The board is expected to consider salting solutions regarding weed abatement at the airport, as well as fees for leasing and airport usage, and the airport's online presence. As always, the board welcomes comments from the public. The meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. in the Mesquite Room at the Yucca Valley Community Center. The Copper Mountain College Board of Trustees will hold a special meeting tomorrow at 1 p.m. before their regularly scheduled meeting at 2:30 p.m., both to be held at Bell Center Community Room at Copper Mountain College. Assignment reporter Gabriel Hart has the agenda for the special and regular meetings.
A proposal recommends the full governing board discuss and provisionally appoint a trustee to the vacant Copper Mountain Community College District Trustee Area 5 seat. Given a failed election and subsequent failed initial appointment due to lack of qualified candidates, CMCCD Governing Board undertook the recruitment process to fill the vacant trustee seat within the 60-day timeline. Candidate nominations were accepted until January 23, 2023, which yielded 2 candidates, Cecilia Y. Evan and Gerald Garber. The governing board will interview the provisional trustee candidates, discuss and take action to appoint a trustee who will take the oath of office at the regular board meeting on March 9th. Reporting for Z107.7, this is assignment reporter Gabriel Hart.
New laws in California took effect this year that will affect foster care, what you wear, and the music lyrics that will not be used against you in a court of law. With the second story in this ongoing series about this year's new laws, here's El Weatherup.
2019's Assembly Bill 44, which prohibits the sale, trade, and manufacturing of new animal fur products, will finally take effect this year in California, making it the first state to ban the sale of such clothing and accessories. Not included in the ban are used, tribal, or religious items that have fur, and any items with hides, skins, and leathers. Non-adherence to the law can result in fines of up to $500 for first offenders and up to $1,000 for repeat offenses within a year. For more information, go to Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7, this is El Weatherup.
And finally, the Elks Lodge has a Valentine's Day fundraiser event that you'll want to sign up early for. Robert Hayden rejoins us with the lovely details.
A Valentine's Day craft fair at the Elks Lodge has limited booths available for the February 12th event. $25 will get you an 8-foot table space, and the tables are provided. This is a pay-in-advance event, and you can reserve your booth by dropping by the Elks Lodge or reserving it online. We'll have contact information at this story on our website. The craft fair will be joined by a Valentine's Day champagne and chocolate brunch from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Tickets are only $35 for you and your Valentine's Day date. The menu has a ham and pepper jack souffle, omelets, little smokies, deviled eggs, sliders, and a fruit plate. And the dessert menu is decked out with raspberry cheesecake, chocolate banana parfait, cherry almond scones, and of course, champagne. We'll have links for signing up for the craft fair and brunch at this story at Z107.7fm.com. Reporting for Z107.7 News, this is Robert Hayden.
That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. More Morongo Basin residents get their local news from Z107.7 than any other source. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z107.7 Local News, I'm Jeff Harmatz.